friends, here's what's cooking in the makeup room today. I wanted to talk about some products that I have nearly used up and actually used them today because there's a little bit left. Some people might call this an empty, but it's got a little life left in it down there. I'm gonna use those things and really talk about whether or not I repurchase, because with a couple of these, I totally need to make that call if I would want to repurchase it or use it again, because they are just about gone. And I don't have a full face worth for this, but I actually, looking at all these products, I have a lot of things that really fall into this discussion. So now is the time to do it. We're going to jump into this today. I've got my skincare on and we're going to use this Maybelline Perfector 4-in-1 Glow Makeup. As you can maybe see, this product is all the way down to the end. I have the shade 01 Light. I just held up this product, the True Match Nude Hyaluronic Tinted Serum from L'Oreal. And these are definitely products that I have done specific videos talking about how good they are in combination, how good the staying power is. I feel like this glowy primer is really good for staying power under various products. You can see kind of a skin tone, Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter type of deal with it, but it's super duper thin. I think that's kind of what sets it apart from other products of this kind, and it's just very lightweight. The glow is subtle. As you see me blend this in, I'm just going to use Profusion buffing brush. You could see it swipe on. So it's like glow mixed with a little sheer skin tone. And once it gets all blended in, the skin looks really radiant. But I can't stress enough the lightness. I mean, don't you notice that if you've used this product? I am 100% repurchasing this. I actually have it in my cart for a Walmart order. I love this stuff. I think Maybelline did an awesome job with it. This L'Oreal is not the only thing it pairs well with. It's a great partner to almost any foundation, honestly. Lightweight, slightly glowy, adds a tinge of coverage in there, as these products that are a little bit copycats of Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter have. You know, there's just a little bit going on. I wear 01 Light, and now we're gonna get our little reminder of how beautiful it is when you top it with the L'Oreal True Match Hyaluronic Tinted Serum. I am 2-3 Light in this, and I would stay in that color. I would also keep my pump. This is a pump that I got on Amazon that fits it, and I would take this out and put this in my next bottle. But you can see we are way down there with this, but I still have, you know, maybe a couple uses left. Well, it's not pumping out real evenly. I'm not getting like that one solid full pump. I have to pump it a couple times. But I've got now what feels like the equivalent of a pump, and I'm going to dot it on. Or as I always notice myself saying in my videos as I'm editing, dab it around. Okay, there we have it. And I dampened a sponge today. It's going to be insanely hot outside. I'm going for very light layers in the makeup, but we're bopping that in. And this product does have the gentlest of luminosity with it. But if you're not familiar with this, it was very different than what I thought it would be coming in. I thought nude hyaluronic tinted serum, I thought it would be so lightweight, but it covers well. It can give me as much as a strong medium coverage depending on how I choose to blend it or how much product I use. And it's it'll have a little bit of radiance, but it's not dewy, it's not tacky, not really overly shiny. But you pair it with this little primer and you do end up with, I think, a very natural, radiant, glowy look. But I've always felt like when I put this foundation on, it's almost like it's matte, there was glow involved, but the actual texture of my skin comes off more like a natural matte. It's a really hard one to explain, but yes, I am definitely repurchasing this. This is in the cart and this is in the cart right now. Even though I have a lot of foundation options, I feel it's worthwhile to own that one because it really is one of my top drugstore things. Now on concealer, I've got two different Age Rewind concealers that I'm low on. The one that I'm even lower on here is the shade Fair, and the shade Brightener I have a little bit more. Also, I'm not sure if you can see here, but I'm pretty low on this e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer, although I feel like there's a little more gas in the tank on that one. Will I repurchase Hydrating Camo Concealer when the time comes? Absolutely. On these, I don't think I'd repurchase the Fair just because I really do have a lot of skin tone tone types of concealers, and it's good, but it's not like, oh my gosh, I have to have that or have to have it immediately once it runs out. I also have a little time left on the brightener, but that's the one that I would repurchase for sure out of these two. I think the brightener is very special from the Age Rewind line. I'm going to use that today, actually. It has coverage, but it's that light pinky tone, and it kind of just works wherever you want to put it on the face. There's a reason why these concealers have had such longevity with their popularity, you know. They're not heavy, but they cover really well, and I think a lot of people love this brightener tone. They also have more of a yellowy toned one called Neutralizer. So if that's the direction you want to go with your color choice, you can try that. But then, of course, the whole range of skin tones is out there too. Again, with the attempt at keeping it light today, I'm dabbing it all in with my sponge. There's just something about hearing from somebody on products that they are so familiar with, they're almost gone. Like, that's the real takeaway. Like, we can all love something that's shiny and new, and maybe it's our first time using it. We don't even know how well it's going to wear yet. But there's only so much wisdom in those kinds of reviews. These are the wise reviews. And you can get them from anybody, you know, like talk to your neighbor, talk to your mom, talk to any makeup loving friend. Like, what have you used up lately? And are you going to buy it again? Once you've gotten to the point of using it up or nearly using it up, you have a valid takeaway. Another foundation that I am running low on, I can't tell that I'm about out of it yet, but it's my Wet n Wild Photo Focus Matte, and that is an absolute repurchase. I'm surprised with my sheer amount of use of that product that it's lasted as long as it has, but I'm probably going to need to repurchase that soon. But there I am with that brightener. I feel like it really brought my under eyes to life. I, again, tried to keep it light. I could have had heavier coverage out of it if I didn't use that sponge, but we're really talking about something when we're low on a loose powder. This is my Maybelline Fit Me powder in Fair, and 100% I will buy this again. Do I have some loose powders clogging up my drawer currently that are nowhere near used up? Yes, but is this special? Absolutely. It's still got some in here. I can shake it and get some out in my cap, but I have never in my life come so close to emptying a loose powder. No, it's not pinky toned, but I swear it is brightening on its own special level, and it wears well. And I feel like for everybody who comes out and says, oh my gosh, the Huda loose powder is the only way to go, it's like, you need to develop a close personal relationship with Maybelline Fit Me, because you will find that it is what you need. And I can't believe, like I said, I am getting so down there with this product. But yes, I'm repurchasing. I guess it might be a little silly with some of these, like you've used that much of it and you wouldn't repurchase. But like I said, I am a woman with options here. I keep having to shake some out because not a lot's coming out. There's a lot of different products I could use, even if I've used something to the bottom and turned out to love it. Like, I could take a pause on it. But for sure, some of these are immediate, like, need to be repurchased because I am that connected to them. I'm taking my Morphe Under Eye Bullet Brush and just using that to work this product around. I think it's all drugstore in this video. It's such a good complexion routine, what I've put together at this point. Now, this Maybelline Superstay Hybrid Powder Foundation, shade 128, it's got a lot of life left in it, honestly. But I have hit, I think, a significant amount of pan. For those of you who like to hit pan and talk about Project Pan, I'm impressed with myself on this. And I asked myself, would I repurchase this? I love it as a topping off step. Like, see how I use the Fit Me up on the under eyes, but now I'm taking this around other areas, and it's taking away a tacky feel that I kind of had there. It wasn't off the charts dewy today, but just a little bit. And when I put this on, then the whole skin texture feels more uniform, and I trust the staying power. And this has proven itself so much. I do have some other good products of this kind that I would rotate in sometimes, such as the Infallible Powder Foundation, which I've also hit pan on that one, but not quite as much. I've got this Extreme Wear. This e.l.f. Halo Glow is kind of in that conversation for being a soft, very potentially coverage-packed powder that can layer on top of your makeup, look lightly, and looks so good and not heavy. So I've got several products that can do the job. And that's not to mention some of my high-end things that I can plug in, like a Laura Geller Baked Balance and Brighten in this mode, or various other things I got in my drawer. This will still last me a while, but I would say it's very likely that I would repurchase it because I see a lot of makeup. I see my face at day's end, and I know what I've used, and I know what often results in the best staying power look. And I feel like this one is something pretty special. So that's a very highly likely repurchase. But like I said, that won't need to happen for a while. Now you might be watching this video and thinking, it just seems like you're running out of everything. Like you got a product for every category. Well, here's where we're kind of hitting the brakes a little bit, because I do not feel like I am close to running out of bronzers, blushes, highlighters. Like I might have some things where I've hit a little bit of pan on it or something, but it's just not significant. It definitely doesn't fall into the category of almost used up. I was looking through my cream bronzers, and I've got one here from e.l.f. that feels like practically empty. This e.l.f. Halo Glow Beauty Wand. Medium tan is the shade. It feels like there is hardly any gas in the tank, and I can squeeze it a bunch and nothing comes out. And I feel like that's probably more of a packaging fail on their part than me using this constantly, because I don't use this constantly. But that's like the only product I have. I'll go ahead and use it today. I would not repurchase. I think it works well, but I'm not gaga for it, and I have a lot of other things that I enjoy that are of this type. I don't think they fill these things super consistently or very full. But I'll go ahead and use that today, since that's the closest thing we got. Did I say the shade I'm in? Because it's really good. Medium tan. Blends in pretty well. My word, do I have liquid contours. And I really, as far as e.l.f. in itself goes, I like their doe foot applicator one even better. I think you're getting a lot more bang for your buck on that product too. But we're getting a good toned contour here. While Ugga was over at Mom and Dad's house doing some lawn work yesterday, as they like to do together, I took the girls back to school clothes shopping. For me, that was always like a couple of separate times. You know, Mom would take me to get my school supplies, but on some other occasion we get some clothes. And so I got the girls some amazing clothes deals at Walmart. Oh my gosh. Just some super cute basics, little skirts, shorts, tops on clearance for like $2, $4. And it's such cute stuff. And there was so much of it. But yeah, they're super excited. And Biddy got a little new hat. They also picked out backpacks, so it was a fun little outing. What did you get for yourself, Em? Oh, well, I got some of that Lesser Evil popcorn. I was really into that for a time, and I'm getting back into it again. It's so good. The pink Himalayan sea salt or whatever. Oh, there's something so incredibly special about that taste, and I don't know if it's the coconut oil or what, but it's so good. So like I said, I don't have a blush or a highlighter in this almost used up conversation. I'm going to take care of those steps and I'll be right back. Nope, that's sad to do a full face, take you through this full face and not include the blush on camera just because it's one I haven't almost used up. We're doing it. Shop in my stash for the thing that most potentially could be pan sometime soon. It's hard to hit pan on a blush, but I'm using my CoverGirl Instant Cheekbones in the Sophisticated Sable. Looks like this. Looks like it's going to be a whole bunch of nothing, but oh boy. I'm using that middle shade first. Love this stuff. Absolutely love. Reminds me of MAC's Warm Soul, especially with this middle shade here. I was just using Warm Soul recently. Mineralized shade from MAC. There's a gentle glow to the product just as is, but it's giving softness. Now we go to that little, like, oh, are you just the dustiest of roses? And then we take that layer up. Let it come a little deeper. When this was created, I bet it was created in the 80s. The idea of instant cheekbones and that it's the blush that gives the cheekbone, as we learned in the 80s wedding makeup tutorial, the blush came down a little bit and the blush created the contour. I don't know if you can tell, but these products, even before we get into the highlighter, have just a little satin finish and it's super pretty. And then this highlighter. Before highlighters were cool. Oh, this just makes me happy, this product. I'm getting some on my finger and I'm like highlighting the Cupid's bow there. Happiness. Happiness in a compact. Setting spray that I am almost out of. Can you hear this? There's just a little bit left. And I do have a backup of this already. L'Oreal Infallible 3-second setting mist. It really does work. On days when that makeup has to stay, you're gonna feel like you can trust this for sure. This might be the last application of this. Everyone says it, you know, you feel like you're spraying hairspray on your face, but it truly does the job. Actually effective on your most important staying power occasions. You want to have some of this. For brows, I realized I'm actually very close to using up my CoverGirl Clean Fresh Nano Brow Pencil. She's just a little guy, you know, it's a very, very skinny pencil. If you've been watching my videos recently, you know we tried a very similar product for Morphe. They've put out a nano pencil. It's actually called Nano. And you know what? It's a little bit cheaper than CoverGirl's. Still hovering around the $10 mark though. Now I've enjoyed this one very much. I really have. The shade is dark brown, I believe. Yep. And what I love about it, I've said it a million times, but the pencil is so skinny that if you've got an existing brow that just has a few little areas of sparseness that need to be reached to fill in, this does the job so well, so quickly, because you're not like raking over hairs with a pencil, just hoping that something catches the skin and ultimately fills you in. It gets right down in there. I use less product because of this, but yes, it is finally like it can only twist up a little bit further than where I've got it right now. So when it's done, will I repurchase? I'm gonna say no. Even though I really like this guy. I've come into basically the same thing from Morphe. Now I got that in PR. Had I not gotten it in PR, maybe I wouldn't know about it, perhaps, the Morphe Skinny Pencil. And in that case, I might have just blindly repurchased this again. Because one thing's for sure, I want a nano pencil in my life. I'm a real believer in the skinniest of brow pencils, the concept of that, how effective it is for me, how much I like that idea. So if I didn't know about Morphe, yeah, I'd buy this again. I have no problem with this. But I now own Morphe's. That's good for me. Once I use that up, considering that I find the quality so similar, I would probably just buy the cheapest one. And it's looking like that is Morphe. All right, I really feel like I'm scraping it on my Brow Fast Sculpt, aka Express Brow from Maybelline, medium brown, the most brilliant tinted brow product in the game. I by default go like that when I take it out. There's no excess to be wiped off of this. You know how you feel when a mascara wand is going into nothingness? It's like, scrape the sides, sure, but you're not getting anything because that tube is pretty darn empty. I've already gone through 2 of these and 100% I will buy it again. It is the smartest little brow brush. One side is short, one side is long. Short bristles lay down some product to where this could be the only thing I put in my brows. Check out my recent like low effort summer makeup video to see it in action just on its own. But the longer bristle side is what's gonna fluff. And it's tinted, so it's adding some color, and the hold is extreme and wonderful. Maybelline nailed this in every possible way. Like, they designed the perfect brush, and then they put the perfect product inside. I hope they never do away with this. Like I said, I call it Brow Fast Sculpt. That's what my tube says. But then you'll see some that say Express Brow. But always does the job, can do the job solo, which is so impressive. So I love that. I adore that product. I practically feel like I have a personal connection with that product. Okay, gang, eyeshadow, I am not about out of something, so I am gonna do my eye look and then I will return. It's the Catrice Blooming Bliss Slim Eyeshadow Palette. Looks like this. Has a lot of different textures in there. Even has like a creamy gel kind of shadow. Makes you think of a Huda palette just to glance at it, but I used that and then I lined my eyes on the upper and smudged a little on the lower with this new L'Oreal Lace Shadow Stick, one of the smoky ones called Starry Bordeaux. Really pretty, rich shade, like that a lot. If we're talking eyeliners, like what am I on the cusp of using up? My Milani Stay Put Tank Liner in black was purchased not all that long ago, but I foresee that I will eventually use that one up. And the first shadow stick I'll use up, it will no doubt be Hard Candy Cold Brew, but I just don't have anything that's like, oh my gosh, it's about out. I don't think I'm about out right now, but I am about out of this Rimmel Thrill Seeker mascara, and it's good. I do like this a lot. It's kind of an hourglass shape and it thickens up and lengthens up, kind of reminding you of a L'Oreal Lash Paradise vibe. Gives you kind of those fluffy, thickened up lashes. So I really like it, but I don't think I'm going to rush out to repurchase. Again, I think Rimmel's doing a good thing here. I think it's agreeing with me more than a lot of Rimmel mascaras have in the past, but I have quite a few good mascaras that I'm loving right now in my stash, and I don't think this one stacks up quite that well. So yeah, it's not going to be an immediate repurchase for me, although I do like this mascara. So I'm going to finish up that application and be right back. Also, I will say I wouldn't be surprised if in the next month or so I go through my e.l.f. lash extender, and I will absolutely repurchase that. That's my daily like lower lash tubing mascara. Thrill Seeker is on, and now we're getting to lip products, and I actually have two Hard Candy Instapout lip liners that are just about gone, and I do love these liners. I love the tones, the formula. I should also mention another one that I have here. Let me check Boyfriend. I don't think I'm about out of that. No, I've got quite a bit left in that. Boyfriend's the brownish one, but the shades First Move and Kiss and Tell, I have talked about these a lot, and I am just about out of First Move. I barely have anything going on there. If I can show you here, there's just a little bit coming out. It's a standard width pencil. As far as the twist up goes, you know, it's not ultra skinny, it's not shaped or formed in some way, but it does have the brush tip on the end the way Buxom does. But First Move is such a good, like, kind of dusty rose color. It works into so many nude lip looks beautifully for just being that slightly deepening, sort of cooler shift on the tone. And then Kiss and Tell is a very similar depth level to that. This one I have just a little bit more of, and it's a bit warmer. See the difference there? I'm just right down to the end on both, and I think both would be an easy decision to repurchase. They've been so frequently used. The staying power is not quite as good as Revlon Color Stay, but very, very close. It's a perfect texture. I love how they're not too creamy. You don't feel like you're just simply putting a finely formed cream lipstick across your lips the way you kind of feel with like an e.l.f. Cream Glide. There's enough dryness to them to where they really do cling. And like I said, they just make a perfect partner to so many nude, neutral, mid-tone lip looks. And I really like Boyfriend too for more of a brownish color. Oh, give me just a little bit more. There's really not a lot of life left. I feel like I'm scraping my lip, but we're gonna fill it in. I feel like First Move is the shade that would best go with this look. So that's what I've got on here, and then let's just pop some gloss on top. You know, I've still got my Lifter Gloss and Taffy in my purse, and that one is probably running a little bit low, but I don't think I'm to the point of using it up yet. I'm gonna use, you know what would be pretty today with this look? The Rimmel Stay Glossy in the shade Date Night. It's kind of this soft mauve shimmer. That First Move can be such a perfect base to so many things. Like, look at that. You can still see the color coming through because this is not a 100% super opaque gloss, but great pairing. And you know what? I feel like I am maybe just a little bit glowy on my cheeks. I'm taking just whatever's left on this triangle puff, dabbing it over my skin a little bit. But I am so, so pleased with that finished look, and it really underscores the fact that products that you're to the point of using up, you probably enjoyed them enough to keep going back again and again. But when you have a large stash, there is that question, will I repurchase that particular thing? And yes, there are some of these that are going to be immediates for me. So the quickest ones, I'm just looking here. Like I said, I already have the L'Oreal Mist, but these are the ones that are going to be the right away repurchases. The Maybelline Perfector 4-in-1, the L'Oreal True Match Nude, the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Powder, these shades in the Hard Candy, and also the Brow Fast Sculpt or Express Brow. I would really like to hear if you've got products in your stash right now that you are just about done with or you've just finished. What kind of criteria do you use when deciding, am I going to repurchase this? Do you look around and say, well, I loved that, but I've got other things I could use? Or do you just feel an immediate like, yeah, I need to have that one back in my life no matter what? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys again very soon. I love you. Bye.